We are in Gothenburg in the year 1621 by the king at the time, Gustav II Adolf. And there have been many attempts to build a city along the banks of the Göta River. It has been a strategic position for a long time. For a while, this was the only place in Sweden with access to the west coast, north from North. And each of these houses had a beautiful view of the garden siding on our right hand side. But when we built this street, we were in a hurry, and so we built it from the right at the same time that we built it from the left. And when we came to the middle, we had a small problem. We had two plots hanging on the walls where they used to trade and store the seeds. And then on the outside of the A.P. Atkins Culture House, you'll see a picture of A.P. Atkins, and he looks just like 1640s to get fresh water into the city. And this woodblock is actually only used for us paddle boats sometimes, for example, in Chile instead. Well, if you like trams, like this one for example, then Gothenburg is the mecca for you. We have the States. So up on our left-hand side now we have Brunnsparken, the well park. It used to be an island, but today it's a park I would not recommend for a picnic. You will find one interesting piece of art. So our left looked out over the swamp and said, "Look, I am your father." Nah, I'm just joking. He said, "This is where the city shall be," and nothing else. On the Gustav Adolf Square, you also find a map of how Gothenburg looked like. It was built in the 1600s. At the time we had even more harbour canals, but today only the Great Harbour Canal remains. We also used to have the East and West Harbour Canals, but they were all filled in with asphalt in the early 1900s, not just harbour streets. And if you have done your math correctly, you might realize that Gothenburg celebrated 4 and they're actually opening the bridge right now. They're raising the middle bit of it to let this ship through. And that was actually not happen so very often. The Hastings Bridge is Gothenburg's newest bridge, built in 2021 and was built as a part of Gothenburg. The Labommen translates into the small beam, and you might wonder why it's called the small beam harbor. Well, in the past we used to have a lot more harbour canals in the city, and the East Harbour Canal went from here into the city centre, and that's ever since. Today she's a hotel and restaurant. On our right hand side now have a beautiful view of the Gothenburg Opera House. Built in 1994, it has been Gothenburg's main stage ever since. When it was built, the architect took some inspiration from the Gothenburg harbour, and so he built it to look just like a ship, with pillars as... And today you'll find the Swedish public service broadcasting company there, SVT. But do you know why the TV and radio building looks Do you know why the TV radio building is located where two jobs there use anchors? Sadly, we can't get any closer today. But welcome to Gothenburg, the capital of Wörthman. You will hear even more later on. Fishy prices. Let's do one more. Do you know why the shrimp don't like to share the food with their friends? No, that's because they're shellfish. It was called Haga, an old working class neighborhood from the 1880s. Will today find nice cafes and trendy boutiques. It's also a Swedish fika. A fika is a moment where we stop what you're doing and just take a coffee and something to eat, perhaps a cinnamon bun. And there you also good. And that's how these landshövding houses came to be. You'll find several of them in the Haga neighborhood.